Hello and welcome to Module 1, the 5 Master Keys to Create Change. Change happens all the time. Whether we like it or not, everything is in a state of flow and everything is in a state of change. You only have to look to nature and look to the seasons and see how one season changes into another. And life is always about evolving and always about changing. The secret is, how do you create the change that you want to see in your life? See, there's a lot of men who sit back and let life happen to them. But I know that you're a man who has a vision for their business, who has a vision for their relationships, who has a vision for their health and the type of man that you want to be. So how can you actually effectively create change in all areas of your life? Well, the 5 master keys to create change will help you get clear on how you do that. There's so many men that I work with who are uneasy about change. They're uneasy because they're out of practice. They've sat back and they've let life happen to them. They may have some goals in their business, but when it comes to their relationships, when it comes to their health, when it comes to their mindset, they have took the foot off the gas and just allowed life to evolve naturally. And when you don't have something that you're working on, then that can create pain and struggle in your life. We've got to be intentional in creating the type of life that we want. There's also men out there who actually rationalize and tell themselves stories about why they should just stay the way they are. And really what that is doing is that's your brain trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you within your comfort zone, because that's what your brain is designed to do. It's designed to keep you safe. So anytime you do something that's out of your norm, your mind will tell you not to do that thing. So we rationalize and we tell ourselves stories around why we shouldn't go after that thing or create the changes that we want. Perhaps it's too painful to do that. And perhaps actually some of the men don't have an effective strategy. And this is exactly what I'm going to give you in Module 1. I'm going to give you an effective strategy so that you can create the change that you want to see in your life. I want you to think about the changes in your life that you have completed or that you have done. And perhaps you can think about a time when you've had an idea of something that needed to change and you've made a decision to go after that change, and you've made a good attempt at doing that. Perhaps it's in the area of your health. You've noticed that you've put on a little bit of weight and you've started to go on a diet, and you've went on this diet and you've doing reasonably well. You've lost a few pounds, and in order to reward yourself for losing a few pounds, you decide to have some chips at the weekend. And we all know that once you have the one chip, it ends up you have 2 chips, 3 chips, 4 chips, and it becomes a pattern again, and you end up falling off the wagon and eating unhealthy again, putting on them pounds that you've lost. So why is it that for some men, that once we've made a decision to change, that we can fall back into old patterns of thinking and old patterns of behaving? So I want to unpack that with you, and I want to tell you about the pressure cooker. So I have seen so many men stuck in what we call the pressure cooker. Now, a pressure cooker is a seal pot. It's a seal pot that builds up a lot of steam in it, and as the steam builds up, it obviously builds up pressure, and it therefore cooks any food that's in that pot more quickly. And when it comes to create change, a lot of men remain stuck in this pressure cooker, and I'm going to tell you exactly what this pressure cooker is, so that you can unstick yourselves and choose to use the 5 master keys instead, so that you can actually get out of that pressure cooker and create the change that you want to see. So I want you to imagine this scenario. So imagine that you are a married businessman. Imagine that for a while that you and your wife have been arguing quite a lot, that every time you come home, the kids are in your face looking your attention, that your home life is highly stressed, and you and your wife are having arguments consistently, and those arguments are actually getting quite heated, and they're getting on top of you. And what you've noticed is that over the course of maybe a year to 6 months, that you and your wife aren't as intimate as you used to be. In fact, you can't remember the last time that you made love. And you're more like friends than lovers at this moment in time. And because of that, because of the stress and the strain that you're feeling at home, and the pain that you're feeling, you decide actually to stay and work later, to stay in the office later, to catch up on all that extra work that's happening in your business. And your excuse is so that you can actually get on top of things. That's what you tell your wife. You're really, really busy, but truth be told, you're actually feeling right on the edge. You don't know what's really going on in your relationship, and you're using this as a way of distracting you from what's really going on, the fact that you aren't happy. And you've become really, really distant as a result of it. And you're moody, and you're taking your temper out on your staff, you're taking your temper out on your wife, but your wife has had enough. And she comes to you one day and she says to you, listen, this has to change. This has to change, or else you can find somewhere else to sleep. You hear me? So you hear that, you take it on board. Now, you would think that as a man that could force you to create the change that needs to happen in order to repair that relationship. But for lots of men, which is totally valid, they have been stuck in this pressure cooker. So let me tell you what the pressure cooker is. Step number 1 in the pressure cooker is the pain. So the pain in this scenario is that you've actually realised that your wife isn't happy. Your wife has added some pressure to you and gave you an ultimatum and said, listen, things need to change, you need to change, or else you need to find somewhere else to sleep. So the pressure is on. The pressure is on, and the pressure is building. Something needs to change, otherwise it's heading in a direction that you ultimately don't want. So you're feeling the pain of that. And the pain actually drives you to action, which is step number 2. The pain drives you to do something. So you're sitting in your house and you're going, right, things are pretty bad here. I'm going to have to decide to do something. So what can I do immediately now to take the pressure off and ease the situation a little bit? So you decide, right, I'm not going to stay late in the office. I'm going to come home at my usual time. And when I come home, I'm going to spend some time with the kids, and then I'm going to put the kids to bed. And hopefully that's going to take enough pressure off so that I'm not in this situation any longer, so that the frustration and the pain will actually ease. So you take that action, you decide to come home, you put the kids to bed, and you do get some results. So the result is that the immediate pain eases. You're able to come home, your wife isn't giving you that ultimatum anymore. But truth be told is that all the underlying issues that have created that problem in the first place still remain. The initial pain and the initial reason why you were going and staying longer in the office, the initial reasons why you and your wife are more like friends and not lovers anymore, the initial reasons why you and your wife are arguing consistently and constantly are all still there, and they haven't been dealt with. So yes, you're getting a new result, but it's only going to be short-lived. It's a bit like that pressure cooker. You open the valve at the top, and it lets that pressure off, and it gets you a little bit of breathing space. So you're getting some results, you're getting a little bit of pressure off. But what happens is that once that pressure comes off, we feel a sense of relief. And because we feel that sense of relief, then it's easy then to fall back into old patterns. And that's what happens. We fall back into old patterns because the pressure's off. My wife isn't nagging at me as much. She hasn't given me that ultimatum, and you fall back into old ways of doing things, old actions, old beliefs and old thoughts, which brings you back into your old behaviors, and the pattern repeats over and over and over and over again. And there's so many men that continuously get stuck in this pattern where they're doing the small things in order to take the pressure off, but actually if you want to create the change, you must go deeper. If you want to create the change across your relationships and actually to have a thriving, healthy marriage where you and your wife are so in love and you're so attuned and connected with each other, you need to do all the underlying work on yourself in order to be able to get there. So you see, what most men do is most men will look at all the things in their life that they don't like. They look at all the things that aren't going well. They look at the arguments that are happening with their wife. They're looking at the fact that their wife seems to ignore them or doesn't seem as passionate about them anymore or doesn't pursue them anymore. They're looking at the business and the piles of paperwork that needs to do, or the conversations that need to happen, or the staff that aren't performing, and all of these things that they know they don't like and they know that need to change. But the important thing that I want you to remember is this: what you focus on grows and expands. What you focus on grows and expands. So the more as men that we focus on all the things that we don't want, the more that stuff is going to perpetuate and actually grow in our life. What we really need to do is actually to move out of the drama, is to gain a bigger vision. To gain a bigger vision, a reason to move, something to strive for. So there's a saying that says pain motivates until vision pulls. So yes, you may be experiencing some pain right now that is alerting you that something needs to change. But in order for that change to happen, you need a bigger vision to pull you forward and to pull you through the drama, and so that you have a vision, so that you know what it is that you want to create. So that's what we're going to look at right now as we delve deeper into the 5 master keys to create change.